Hey y'all, hey, thanks for coming by today. Today I'm going to be talking about attention deficit, and I just have some thoughts on this. Most of this is my opinion, but when it comes to the demonic activity, those are the things that I know. So, yes, let's go ahead and get into it. Attention deficit is described as the inability to sustain attention or focus. And I thought about it like, why would a person have attention deficit? And I've experienced this through demonic activity, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But why would someone have attention deficit? We are all beautifully and wonderfully made by God. So I came up with a few reasons that this may happen. So the first one is nurture. Now I was like, well, maybe if someone grew up in a chaotic household, maybe there's very little, stability, and there's a lot of moving around. Maybe that could cause attention deficit. Maybe there's some type of toxic overload while a child was in the womb, while they were growing, or maybe there was some type of medical injury. Maybe there was some type of environmental toxins when a person was young, and maybe that affected their ability to maintain attention or focus for a reasonable amount of time. Now, demons can cause attention deficit as well. They sit in the soul realm, in the mind, the will, and emotions of a person, and they have things they can do to distract a person. They can put demonic thoughts in a person's mind. They can literally move a person's emotions so they think they're feeling something that they're really not. They can manifest. Some of us have seen the black eyes in a person. Some of us have seen the twinkle in a person's eyes that represents a certain twinkle that represents that they're sitting right there looking through that person's eyes. I have seen where the bands in the spiritual mind are broken, and let's say a few bands in the spiritual mind are broken, but that shows up in the physical mind as a challenge to maintain attention and focus, so much so that it could be hard for a person to read a 5-sentence paragraph, and they have to read the same thing over and over again due to that demonic injury in the mind. So I just want to put that out there. And just the other day, I was reading this book that I'm going to be reviewing shortly, but it's called The Anna Anointing. You know, I'm just sitting there chilling. I'm reading the book. Nothing's going on. And just out of nowhere, I put the book down. I'm like, but once I put the book down, I'm like, why did I put the book down? Yes, it's because of demonic activity, the interference. They don't want me to read a faith-based book that could answer some questions I have, that could grow the knowledge I have about God and His kingdom and how He wants His people to move the kingdom forward. They don't want all that. So it was a little distraction. And if I wasn't really paying attention as to why, I could have put the book down for a longer period of time. And of course, they don't want me to finish reading it. So, I just want to put this out there because somebody could experience like a recent onset of attention deficit. And I just want to put out there that demonic activity could be the reason why. And if that is the reason why, you probably know what I'm going to say. Deliverance is needed and healing is needed from God. And if you're not sure exactly what is needed, you can always go to God and ask Him what needs to be done. But yes, so that concludes this portion of the video. Next, I'm going to be highlighting the wonderful book called The Anna Anointing. This book ain't nothing to sneeze at. Look, The Anna Anointing book is masterful. It was written by Michelle McLean Walters, and I learned about the role of a prophetic intercessor. I didn't know it was such a role. When I think of a prophet, I think about an individual that gets a vision from God, information from God, and then they tell people about future events. But the prophetic intercessor gets information from God, and then they pray to God about what God is telling them to pray for. And I was amazed by this information. So I'm thankful for her writing this. I encourage you to read this book. It's a great read. And that concludes this portion of the video. Next, we're going to get into some wildlife facts. Now, this is one of the few times I was able to capture a great blue heron in flight. And as I said before, this is my favorite bird. It's just so beautiful and majestic. They're about 5 or 6 pounds with a wingspan of 5.5 to 6.5 feet. It descends from the bank and now it's wading in the water in search of its next meal. That concludes this portion of the video. I want to thank y'all for listening, and blessings, and talk soon.